To truly understand why Ukraine's strike on the Crimean Bridge matters so much, we need to step back into history and trace how Crimea became one of the most contested pieces of land in the modern world. Crimea is a peninsula that juts into the Black Sea, blessed with warm ports, fertile land, and a strategic location that has drawn empires for centuries. From the Greeks and the Byzantines to the Mongols, the Ottoman Empire, and the Russian Empire, Crimea has been at the crossroads of civilizations. In the 18th century, after wars with the Ottomans, the Russian Empire under Catherine the Great annexed Crimea in 1783, marking the start of Moscow's long historical grip over the peninsula. During the Soviet era, Crimea remained a prized possession, hosting the Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol, which gave Russia naval access to the Mediterranean and beyond. But in 1954, in what seemed like a symbolic gesture at the time, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev transferred Crimea from the Russian Soviet Republic to the Ukrainian Soviet Republic. Within the Soviet Union, this decision did not matter much since borders were internal. But when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991 and Ukraine became an independent state, that administrative transfer suddenly turned Crimea into Ukrainian territory under international law. For decades after independence, Crimea was recognized worldwide as part of Ukraine, though tensions simmered beneath the surface. The population of Crimea was majority Russian-speaking, with many residents identifying more closely with Moscow than Kyiv. Ukraine allowed Russia to continue leasing naval facilities in Sevastopol for its Black Sea Fleet, but political frictions over identity, language, and allegiance never disappeared. The turning point came in 2014, during Ukraine's Maidan Revolution, when pro-European protests in Kyiv led to the ouster of President Viktor Yanukovych, a leader backed by Moscow. In response, Russia acted swiftly. Masked soldiers without insignia, later acknowledged to be Russian special forces, seized government buildings, airports, and military bases in Crimea. Within weeks, Russia staged a controversial referendum, claiming overwhelming support for joining the Russian Federation. By March 2014, Russia formally annexed Crimea, an act condemned by the United Nations and most of the international community as illegal. For Russia, annexing Crimea was about more than territory. It restored direct control over the Black Sea Fleet, secured warm water ports, and sent a message that Moscow was willing to redraw borders by force. For Ukraine, it was a national trauma, the sudden loss of land, homes, and sovereignty, coupled with the displacement of the Crimean Tatar population, who largely opposed Russian rule and faced repression after annexation. Since 2014, Crimea became a heavily militarized zone. Russia poured billions into fortifying the peninsula, deploying advanced missile systems, building new bases, and stationing troops. And to cement this hold physically and symbolically, Russia began constructing the Crimean Bridge across the Kerch Strait. The bridge was not just concrete, it was a statement to the world that Crimea was permanently tied to Russia. But Ukraine never accepted that reality. Every move since then, military, diplomatic, and now the bold attack on that very bridge, has been driven by the determination to reverse the annexation and prove that Crimea is not beyond reach.